everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. As always, I'm joined by my partners in crime, Daryl, Trevor, Jordan. Welcome. This week's episode is entitled, Well, Wet My Whistle 2025. 2024 is come and gone, along with the many games that were released and played. Right, Jordan? I think he played all the games.
As previously discussed.
Yeah.
So what do we do now? What is there to look forward to? And what on earth is coming out this year that has us gnawing the legs off the kitchen table in excitement? There are some releases this year that have us excited and very, very intrigued. Find out what we are most looking forward to playing this year and let us know if we missed any major titles that you think we should have on our radar.
No.
Welcome. Hello. Yeah. So we went through some of the announcements at the Game Awards in a few weeks ago. But the thing with that is that some of those games aren't coming out this year.
No.
You know, Daryl was even confused and thought that the Wolverine game was coming out this year.
No,
to his great disappointment,
hopeful.
It's not. So,
well, we don't know actually. We don't actually know when it's.
Daryl, go back and
wraps.
play X-Men Origins Wolverine. That game is great.
Watch the movie too. Also, just fantastic.
Totally.
Oscar worthy.
Yeah. I'm not that gullible.
So instead, we thought we would go through and pick out some of our, the ones that have us sort of like scratching our chins, curious about what it's going to look like exactly. I'm the only non-bearded one here this week. This is my pretend beard, right? Right. All right, great. I don't know if we go by like quarter of the year or just stuff.
No,
that's
because the only
jumped out at
thing
us.
that's announced is the first quarter. Like everything else is to be
That's
determined.
Everyone is holding their breath to avoid Grand Theft Auto potentially and Elden Ring. Everyone's like, just don't put me near those two.
Yeah.
Please.
That's right.
Whenever Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it's
It's game over.
just good
for
luck to everybody else.
2 weeks on either end. Just avoid it.
Just,
Considering that GTA 5, like their online, like whatever that online
Grand Theft Auto
version of the
Online.
game,
It's called
yeah,
GTA 5 Online.
Yeah.
like that has been like pumping out money since.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
still going.
insane. Still going. And that game
Still
came
has
out in
updated
like,
content. Still has new stuff being added.
yeah. When did that game come out? Like 2013?
2015?
Yeah.
or 15. Yeah.
A while.
Long ass time ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
If-
I mean,
if-
people
it's
still play
still
WoW.
just-
Let's be serious. Like we've talked about this, but there's still a shit ton of people that are playing WoW.
Yeah, but WoW had like a ton of expansion stuff. Has GTA?
But that's what I'm saying. GTA keeps coming out with new seasonal things and like new missions and new
Like
stuff to
Fortnite.
do. And
They had expansions and content updates and all sorts of
Fair.
stuff.
new cars, new people. and,
Heists.
like,
Yeah.
Enough of that.
Now, for me, there's one that I'm like cautiously optimistic about. And like I took a break from the series after, my beloved favorite. But Assassin's Creed Shadows
ooh.
is supposed to come out in February. I, again, cautiously optimistic, with Ubisoft basically shitting the bed with, their last few releases. This is essentially their make or break game.
Yeah,
Because
if
they
this
pumped-
doesn't go, they're fucking broke.
They're gone.
Like they're
Yep.
done.
They pumped so much money into Skull and Bones.
Fuck.
You
I
mean
forgot
that
was
quadruple A,
Wah, wah.
that quadruple A masterpiece?
I don't want to talk about it. I was so disappointed.
right up there with
Um,
the ranks of Concord.
Yeah.
Well,
Forspoken.
at least it's still playable.
Yeah.
Is it?
But anyways, so Trev was just talking about his wife jumping into Ghost of Tsushima, and I feel like AC Shadows has potential to do something really, really cool because it has two playable protagonists, two different like ways it could go. You could play stealthy or more of like an honorable samurai kind of deal. There's potential, but in the Assassin's Creed universe, which
people have been asking for a samurai Japanese Assassin's Creed for 10 years, 15 years.
Probably since like the second one, I would say.
People have been asking for this for forever.
Yeah.
It's nice to see
will
that
they
they've
get something
actually,
of quality.
Well, that's always the big thing. I'm happy the game has been delayed multiple times because this seems like one of the few Ubisoft games where they seem to give a fuck that it actually comes out polished and like.
Well, I think the pressure's on. Like
the pressure is definitely on, no question.
Yeah.
They just better pray they are not in the same release week as Ghost of Yota.
yeah. That's not good. That won't go well for them.
Struggle.
Well, yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadow comes out in February. It was supposed to come out in November of 2024. Ghost of Yota.
So it'll come out in June.
Yeah. Ghost of Yota will be October, the typical PlayStation launch window for a big AAA title. Yeah. They're not gonna be close to each other. I've said it to you guys before, like Assassin's Creed is my Fast and Furious franchise. Like Daryl watches every one of those. It's his guilty pleasure.
With no shame. I have zero shame. I love those movies.
So that's Assassin's Creed for me. I love those games. They're comfort food. You know what to expect, but they've done some really cool things with this game. There's a dynamic weather system. In the game, there's depending on what part of the story you're in, the weather's going to change. That's going to have gameplay changes and differences.
That's vaguely familiar to another game about being a samurai.
And
then
do
you have a horse that you ride?
I don't know, to be honest.
We're not going
we don't
there.
talk about that.
Okay, we don't talk about that.
No.
God, I can't wait till my wife gets to that part.
It's going to crush her.
She was so excited to get the specific horse that she picked. She's like, I got this one. He's brindled and his name is this. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
You sweet summer child.
I could just imagine Carolyn's just gonna quit playing the game at that point. She's just like, no,
she'll
it's
be
too devastating.
Upset. She's gonna be mad. No, she'll like do what you do in the game. She's gonna go on a rampage and just like destroy Mongolians. That's what she's gonna do.
You killed my horse.
Trevor, you know she is going to be so upset with you for not telling her.
Well, no, she'd be more upset if I spoiled it. To be fair.
I think either way, it's a lose-lose situation for you.
I'm here for the chaos. Let it happen.
I can only hope that I'm like there. I need to check when it happens in the game. I can only hope that I'm there and I can videotape it. That's all I want. If the universe works out, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen because, yeah. Okay, so back on track here. AC Shadows on my list. Cautiously optimistic, but realistically disappointed already.
Hey, okay, come on.
You're so optimistic, Kyle.
Yeah.
Just give it a chance.
I know I should. Okay, Trevor, give me one. I want to hear.
Oh my god. So one that we haven't talked about for a while. Being about game soundtracks and stuff. This is what I really hope they get right. And I'm very curious to see how it goes because it is a twist on the traditional game. I'm really curious about Doom Dark Ages.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like just a first person, like action shooter. Same thing. Gory, chunky and brutal. But I just want to see what they do.
We love that.
I'm here for it. Doom Eternal had some benefits, but they also fumbled it pretty bad. And then they had all the bullshit with Mick Gordon and the soundtrack, which is awful. But I'm really hoping that they kind of get it together. But it's one that I keep seeing hints of, and I just want to try it out.
Totally.
It's
That franchise has never done it for me. I've tried. It should be right up my alley, but it's just. Yeah,
Doom.
I don't know.
Not Doom Eternal, but Doom, the most recent like restart of Doom, was very good. It does a very good job of explaining the Doom universe and story.
Gotcha.
Doom Eternal kind of like tweaked it and went back to like the kind of mission-y based thing. But if you can get it for free or whatever, that last one, the most previous one, is probably the best explanation of like, this is Doom, this is what happens. You know, this robot AI goes crazy and now we've got like demons and shit. Like it breaks it down in a very positive way.
Yeah. You know, on that same note, and like sort of calling back to our secret level episode, I think it's time for an Unreal Tournament revival.
Well, there's a chance with those episodes of some of those games that we're going to see a resurgence in some of these things just because the interest might be there. So. But like it really kind of depends on how well received everything else is and like how much chatter is online and whatever about some of these things.
Is it already in development and the episode was just a hype train to get people
I don't know.
familiar with it again? Like,
well, it could have been like that Pac-Man episode, you know, like
yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed all of those were some sort of ad. Like there's no way you would pay
I honestly
get that made, right? Like
just give me that Dungeons and Dragons thing as a show or a movie or like something. Just
give me that 4.
Oh. They're not gonna do it. I already like.
All right.
What
Jordan,
about
bring us to a real game?
Real game.
Yeah.
Kyle's out here talking about dreams and fantasies. We're here supposed to be talking about what the fuck we're excited for in 2025.
Well, I know Trevor's excited about this one, so I'll pitch it back to him. What about Fable? Did we see Fable this year?
I don't know.
It's supposed to be coming back. I don't think it's this year though.
They've said 2025.
If there is, same thing. I think it's going to be really late in the year. And I think it's going to be that big push of Xbox, right? This is kind of
nostalgia. Yeah.
Not even nostalgia. Like they've made it very new. I mean, it is an old franchise, but I think it's one of their last big, like, this is what we have on PlayStation kind of moments. And they've got to, same thing. They've got to do it correctly or they're fucked.
Yeah. Like I view Fable as Indiana Jones this year. Like Indiana Jones sold well for them. Critically,
surprisingly,
it was reviewed very well.
Yeah, like very well.
There's supposed to be another one in the works too for Indiana
Better
Jones.
than expected. I didn't think that game was going to do that.
It does, and that does come out on PlayStation this year. So like Xbox had like a 6 month embargo on it or something.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, oh, there's another one. Oh, no, same game, just PlayStation.
Yep.
But
yeah, Daryl, give me a.
Well, I'm gonna make Jordan mad if I don't talk about it, I guess.
Or are you gonna take Jordan's?
You bet your sweet ass, Daryl.
Yeah. So Jordan and I are both very excited to play Crimson Desert. The game looks super cool. It won me over as soon as I saw there was dragons in it that are like
you can ride
them. That was just shut up and take my money right there. That was it. I was just like, oh yeah, and it's not like super cartoony and bullshitty looking. I was like, no, this is gonna look awesome. I was like, I'm gonna get into this pretty intensely. So I was like, that's my time sink of the year, most likely, of everything that's listed for 2025. I'll probably hold off on buying Grand Theft Auto 6 right away. Like, so.
You got about 15 years before they replace it. So
yeah, exactly. So
like, you might as well just wait to get it for free, or like they do some updates, right? Like it's
15
not
years
anywhere.
and 3 consoles.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
I guarantee you that game's going to need an online connection to their server too. Like, don't even mess around with that shit at launch.
No, it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be like every Blizzard BattleNet thing ever.
Even though I love Grand Theft Auto and I've played like a ton of those titles, I do think I'm going to wait on that one. But Crimson Desert looks unreal. That has the feel, the look of a game that is very much up my alley. And I just hope it plays well. I hope that it's an enjoyable battle experience. And if it has that, I already know I'm going to be fucking hooked. Like it's just
have they talked about like how it plays? Like, is it a story game? Is it more of like a Dragon's Dogma, like kind of sandbox, like, but there's sort of a story game?
it looks super open.
They've kept comparing it to The Witcher 3 or Witcher 4.
Ooh.
No, 3.
It'd be 3.
Yeah, they keep comparing it to that. They're like, it's basically a blend between The Witcher, Dragon's Dogma, Assassin's Creed, and Tears of the Kingdom. Those are like the 4 mashup.
That's a
games.
lot of comparisons.
That's a bit of dangerous territory, but I see what they're doing. But if that's it, like, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm here.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm into it. It's probably like out of everything listed for this year, that's probably my one guaranteed day one purchase this year. Like that's guaranteed.
Yeah,
I think that's a good transition then to what's a day one for you? What's like a day one purchase of the upcoming ones?
Oh shit. Well, I'm gonna answer last.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, I mean, looking forward, we don't have specific release dates yet, but I think Borderlands 4 might be a day one for me. If
I can see a bit more, I'm same thing. Yes. Like I said, I'm being dragged along by the train right now. I just need to like get my feet on.
I need more context and intro into the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, it's going to be Borderlands. It's going to have a ridiculous amount of guns. There's going to be like some goofy stuff. They've come out and said like, oh, we're cutting back on the poop jokes. Like, but
no, they said they're cutting back on the dumb, bad writing jokes. Hopefully,
I'm fine with that.
If it has better writing, I'm in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ghost of Yotai, I think, is that game for me.
Yeah.
Watching my wife play Ghost of Tsushima right now and remembering like how beautiful and awesome that game is. Yeah. And then looking at it and being like, they really did a lot with not the greatest graphics in the world. Like you go back
PS4,
yeah. There are some
PS4,
amazing moments and it looks fantastic for what it is, like as a system, right? Like the parts are the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yep.
Because when you look at them individually, it's kind of just like, wow, they really did make this look good. And like Jordan, like we've raved about the game. The story's fantastic. The gameplay's so good. Probably a day one. If not, my wife's going to buy it day one and I'll have to wait for her.
So yeah, who's got dibs?
It's her replacement for Horizon until there's another one.
Yeah. I mean that game I think is going to be phenomenal. I'm not convinced it comes out this year. Honestly.
Oh, really? You don't think it?
I think that game could be pushed into February, depending on kind of what's going on at PlayStation. But yeah, that game, for some reason, there's something about it. I'm just not convinced that it comes out this year.
Interesting.
It's fair.
But yeah, honestly, one of the ones for me is Expedition 33.
Oh yeah, right. That looks so good.
Is that March?
I don't know if they've put a month on it. Have they?
Oh, maybe not. I thought I keep seeing things with it. Like it's supposed to be roughly whatever date, but yeah. I think you're right. I don't think they have.
That game, I mean, we've only seen very little of it, but we have at least seen gameplay, which is nice. And as far as like a turn-based RPG goes, it looks fantastic. Very high production value. Yeah, and the story is super unique and cool. I like what they're trying to do with the story component of every year that age group dies. And it just keeps counting down. Like, I think that's super cool.
It's a Game Pass day one thing too. So I didn't really include it because it's already going to be available to us, but I am very excited about that game.
Yep. How many Final Fantasy VII mini games can they fit into it?
You shut your mouth.
Hopefully none. Hopefully none. But yeah, as far as like a purchase game, This is another one that we've talked very little about, but Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra. So that's the one.
I want more about it. I don't think I've seen enough to make that.
I need information.
A call for. I was like, I'm not ready to make that jump. Like, if this is like the Avengers game, then I'm staying far away from it. But if
Agreed.
I don't think it's going to be anything like that. As soon as I heard Amy Hennig was the director for the studio, she's the one that did Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. So I'm like,
I am back in.
Yeah. Like if
Jordan's
she
a salesman through and through.
I just want to see more. I don't want to make that. I can't make that call yet. I need to see more.
I agree. That's another one of those games. They kind of like sprinkled it somewhere and then they've just stopped.
Yeah, because I have the same issue with the new Pokemon coming out this year.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
that
like
is yeah.
Yes.
So I am cautiously optimistic about Legends Z-A because it's supposed to be like essentially the sequel to Arceus, but it's not quite part of that like Scarlet Violet universe, which like those games had some moments in it, some cool new Pokemon, but that game was shit. Like overall, good story and things like that. Roxy, I'm sorry, but like in hindsight, the game is not. It's just not great in comparison.
I love that we're apologizing to a specific person over our takes.
So sorry.
Sorry, Roxy.
Yeah,
but
it is bad.
It's just not. It's not as good as the other stuff. So I'm hoping this one kind of, reverts and goes back to some of the stuff that made Arceus really good. And we'll see. But I got to see more on that one too. I can't make the call on that.
I'm very curious to see where companies spend their advertising money this year.
Yes,
because the last year or two, people have gone nuts. Like especially Sony, they've been like, "Here is the game," and I think almost like 75% of them have been the shittiest thing released, like for months on end.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if they're gonna if either is it a marketing ploy to try and convince people to buy a shit game, or if they're actually going to take a look at stuff and say, hey, we should actually advertise the games that are good.
Yeah.
And maybe shift that and not just focus.
Sometimes less is more, man. Like,
yeah.
I think about some of the marketing for some of the most successful games over the last few years. Like, what is the marketing for Elden Ring? Like,
it's hard.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, it's if you're going to release something that's good, people will find out very quickly,
especially in this day and age.
Yeah. And it will get bought up. Like, so just release something good and you don't have to worry about it. Like, I don't remember any commercials about Baldur's Gate or anything like that. Like,
no,
very minimal.
I have appreciated the developers that have their first gameplay reveal trailer is like 3 to 4 months from launch. And like, that's the ready. First you're hearing of it. That's been really, really nice.
I appreciate that way more than like, here's the concept of the game we have.
Here's an opening cinematic.
We have a concept of a plan.
Logan.
That is, I have to say for Jordan, that is the perfect segue, because when I'm looking at this list for next year, there is a lot of missing titles specifically from Nintendo. We're starting to get into leaky situations here where there's talks of a new Mario Kart. We're supposed to get the Switch 2, whatever the fuck they're calling it.
Yeah.
Switch Deuce.
I'm glad you brought it up because honestly, I think anything Nintendo related this year is a wait and see what happens approach.
Yes.
Because if it's going to be like the Wii U, where Breath of the Wild comes out and it's like, oh, well, you can play it on the Wii U, but we also have this brand new console for you to play it on. Like, you're wasting your time if you buy anything Nintendo related this year to play on the Switch OG, because the Switch 2 is going to come out either this year or early next year. I just don't see why you rush. Yeah. Let us see what the Switch 2 looks like before I make a purchase.
Yeah. But I'm excited because I feel like with the announcement of it, whenever it's supposed to come out, we will also be getting the here are the 6 games set to release with it. Obviously, we're getting a some sort of a Samus game.
Yeah.
Some sort of Metroid Prime something.
Yeah.
But that's really the only one that they haven't even said that that's for the Switch 2. But that's the only one they've talked about where people are like, clearly this is a Switch 2 game.
That's when I'll find out what the
Based
next
on
Fire
quality.
Emblem is.
Yeah.
That's what Daryl's excited for.
I mean, Mario Kart, 3D open world Mario game, maybe a Smash Bros sequel, Fire Emblem,
Ooh.
and then there's probably going to be a Zelda tease at some point too, right?
More Pokemon stuff. Like it's gonna cycle.
Well,
Like
that's where I wonder too with the new Pokemon. They've talked about
Pokemon
it.
Stadium 3.
Oh.
I'd lose my shit.
Right? See, it's stuff like that. They have so much to fall back on that they could just be working on secretly, but they haven't really talked about anything like specifically Nintendo. So
Yeah. They've been playing a lot like close to the vest.
yes. And I know Jordan and I
As
talked
they
about it. It's
do.
like, I just want a surprise like next week. Hey, in 2 weeks we're doing a Nintendo Direct. Everyone secretly is going to be shitting their pants and just just staring at their computer waiting for them to be like Switch 2.
Here's
and then
the console.
Just a deep dive and just unleash on everybody.
All these previews you just watched, why do those look so good? Because they're going to be on this new console.
Just in time for tax return season. Switch 2.
Nice.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a quick break here. I need a break from all the speculation. We'll switch it up too. And we will go into our very first Danger Dome segment of 2025. Daryl, danger me. Fantasy Face Off. Fight.
Well, it is that time again, folks, for Fantasy Face Off, where I pick 2 fictional characters or real ones, who knows, and I battle them in the pit in a fight to the death.
Into the pit.
So this week, in the midst of just let's set the year off right. Let's bring in 2025 with good intentions and just chaos. So
Chaos.
I thought of what would be the 2 most kind of like crazy chaotic characters that kind of go at it. And so this fantasy face off is between Harley Quinn and Jinx from Arcane.
Oh.
So like both both, make their weird contraptions to like fight people and are kind of in that in between of good and bad. No limitations. Who's taking it?
Jinx.
Double Jinx.
Jordan is sick and therefore
There will be no logic or reasoning. This is my answer.
Jinx is more unhinged than Harley Quinn.
Are you sure?
Harley Quinn has a bigger redemption arc, and as most things turns into an anti-hero, which I don't necessarily agree with.
So does Jinx, kind of.
It's like, so does Jinx in season 2 of Arcane.
Well, I haven't watched season 2 yet, Daryl. Okay. I don't know. Jinx to me just seems more batshit crazy, and I think the weapons and the stuff that she makes are more effective. Harley Quinn uses a baseball bat and a fucking shotgun.
Booty shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Booty shorts.
Power of booty shorts.
It's a weapon. I have to agree with Jordan. I think Jinx has a little bit more to her. Harley Quinn, like while she is unhinged, I think her weaponry falls more into like the gag reel category rather than the actual doing significant damage category, seeing as like Jinx wields a rocket launcher.
Yeah, but Jinx also made the girl of like a bionic arm that just randomly would shoot fireworks. Instead,
that's just like genius, but I'm gonna be a little quirky because screw you. Like that's
the equivalent of Harley Quinn's mallet with the bam that comes out of it like a gun. Like it's not. It's just stupid.
Yeah, it's just stupid. Yeah, my vote's Jinx.
Kyle starting off the year correct. We're going 3 for 3.
Whoa, my God.
I think I agree. There's just something. I mean, we've seen Harley Quinn in movies. She gets a little musical in the last one. The music in Arcane's way better.
I don't watch that. I won't watch that.
Yeah. So don't use that as a reference for who you're fighting in this matchup. I agree. I think Harley Quinn just comes off a little bit more like Wile E. Coyote cartoony, like just a hair, right?
That's a great description.
A little bit more Acme, right? Whereas Jinx is just a little bit more unhinged, and in Arcane you get a little bit more like true death and like fucking people up kind of stuff. So yeah I think I gotta go Jinx on that one.
All right. The Battle of the Unhinged. The winner is Jinx. Are we right? Are we wrong? Let us know on Discord and on Instagram and everywhere else that you can talk to us.
Oh,
let us know.
It's nice being right once in a while.
You did it, Kyle. You're like 2 in a row now. You've been doing so good.
Yeah, what on earth, Kyle?
Okay,
so proud of you.
Bringing it back to our looking forward to the new year, this new year that we are currently in, because we're recording in 2025. Yep.
Yes.
Split Fiction. I'm curious about. We talked about it like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Given the way that It Takes Two has gone, I think that's going to be a pickup for me.
Yep.
And we talked about Ghost of Yotai. Last week we talked about, Power Rangers, Rita's Rewind, and some side scroller beat 'em ups. Double Dragon Revive.
Yeah, we did talk about that last episode.
We did.
That is not a day one purchase, though.
No.
I was like, no.
That's not day one, but it's something I'm curious about to see gameplay and see how it goes. Given that Streets of Rage 4 was so awesome.
50% discount or no purchase.
Kind of agree, Jordan. Like the styling from what I've seen and can find online, it definitely falls under more of that Streets of Rage, kind of like a Yakuza style, like it feels very Japanese.
Yeah.
For a side scroller. Yeah.
I don't know. It again, like Jordan said, it's got to be on discount because I got burned by Rita's Rewind, and I don't want to do that again.
Good correction, Kyle.
Yeah, yes, good save, buddy. Good save.
Thanks, guys.
I'm also excited for the first Berserker, Kazan. Like, that looks like a fun game. I don't know if that's a day one for me, but that's like 100% a game that I do want to play at some point. Like visually, even like the battle like taste we got of gameplay, it looks intriguing to me. So Jordan and I have talked about that game before.
It kind of feels like an anime version of a Wolverine game. Like what is rage? Like how do I convey rage in a character in combat? It's like it's bloody, it's fucking violent.
It looks gruesome as hell. Like that's and it looks hyper exaggerated like many other JRPG style things. So of course I'm going to be very drawn to that. So.
JRPG God of War kind of.
Yeah. And I think it's based on like it's a graphic novel, isn't it? Berserker?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's based off of that. I've never read those, but they look cool from a distance.
Yeah. Trev, that's a great description. Like JRPG God of War it's
right up there. And I'm curious if 2025 is a year where we get a new genre
Oh,
We're moving. Do we move away from samurais? Do we move away from Norse mythology?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do we
What's
finally
coming
get
back?
something fucking different?
That's
Can
I don't know.
some
What's
more
your
plague?
prediction? Give us a prediction.
I don't know. I
If
was
it's
like,
not samurais, if it's not Vikings,
It's Egyptian.
do we go
It's coming
back?
back.
Do we go back to medieval? Do we do like Plague Tale? Do we go back to like ye old Europe? I don't know what else you do. Like, do we go jungle? Do we go South America again? You know, with a little the
Okay.
Indiana Jones touch in there.
hmm,
I'd like
I
to
could
see. I'd like to see the Mass Effect meets No Man's Sky type. Like I want to see an amalgamation. of that.
sci-fi exploration.
So, but like sci-fi story RPG, but allow me to get in my ship on the planet and fly out into orbit with no loading screen. Let me fucking explore. Like, you know,
Well,
I think it's time to come back to that.
It's not 2025, but that might be the new Naughty Dog game.
Oh,
Maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, you're not wrong.
So cautious from a distance right now with that game.
Right.
Beautiful.
I
But,
think,
like,
yeah.
I think right now the sci-fi genre has kind of gone the same route that roguelites have gone. Like everything sci-fi in the last couple of years has been a survival sim type game.
Generative planets. And you're like, we get it. If there's a bajillion planets and they're all fucking empty. Like,
Like give me some characters I care about. Give me a story that's gonna carry me through the universe. Like, you know, I appreciate games like Void Crew and No Man's Sky and stuff like that because they are essentially endless gameplay loops. But to me, they're like live service games. I can play them for maybe 10, 15 hours, but I am not going to spend 500 hours on a game like that and have it be the only thing I play. It's not going to happen.
like give me a slightly dumbed down, less Grand Theft Auto version of Cyberpunk. Like, give me a Blade Runner,
Yeah.
Right?
Blade Runner universe, but with a story like RPG.
Yep. Sign
Like,
me up. That'd be
Cyberpunk's
sick.
incredible and it's crazy, but it's a lot.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
It is.
And-
It is very much.
And give me that type of universe in third person.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna
Yeah.
spend that much time on a character creator, let me fucking see the guy. I don't
Jordan
want
wants to see the monster wang he put
I
on his
want to
character.
see the gigantic wang. Hey, we had boob physics back in the PS1 days. We need dick swinging physics now for the PS5.
Just a pendulum.
Yeah.
Oh, so gross.
Sometimes you just got to put it on the table, son. Show them what you're working with.
Okay. Rapid fire. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever.
Yeah.
2XKO, Daryl.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very interested in that collection of characters, you know, in that game. Very, very interesting. I also, on that topic, I'm hoping it comes out this year for sure, is that Knocked Off. Like,
Yeah.
it's essentially like those characters based off of all the stuff we were talking about last week. So one's a barracuda instead of a street shark, like those guys fighting against each other. That game,
Action figures. Yeah.
yeah, they look like toys, but they're like fighting each other. That game looks super cool, and I can't wait to play that. And that was kind of hit beta last year, so I am very hopeful for that. I'm going to support that game when it comes out.
Yeah. That game looks
Did we
cool.
talk? Did we talk about Elden Ring Night Rain yet? Did we talk
We
about
did
that
not.
enough already?
I think we did last week or a couple weeks
A couple
ago.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, talked
We're
about
in.
it. I mean,
I
we're
want to see
in,
more,
but it's-
but I'm
yeah.
probably in. Yeah.
It's probably not a day one buy for me, but Death Stranding 2.
Okay.
Let's say, yeah.
You really liked that one, didn't you?
I still
that
think
game.
about Death Stranding 1 often. That game, that story stuck with me.
It's such a fondness.
Well, yeah, maybe not fondness for me, and I won't go.
More of a haunting.
Yeah, I won't quite go into it, but yeah, no, that story stuck with me. I really want to see where that universe goes.
Nice. Trevor, anything on the any last minute ones?
I'm going through the endless list, and there's nothing. I think we've covered all of the ones that I like bookmarked in my brain.
The Outer Worlds 2, T.
Oh yes, so that one, same thing. Just there's so many things coming out. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. The first one, Jordan and I kind of said was like, oh, it feels a bit short, and it didn't feel quite as hashed out as it could have been in the same way that Fallout New Vegas did. So I'm really hoping that they kind of roll with that and just expand it, because the universe is both scary and hilarious, and it creates for just these wicked moments.
Yeah, the writing is so good in those games. It's very, very funny. Anti-corpo. I mean, that's up Kyle's alley right there. So
yep.
Last one for me is Dying Light: The Beast. I talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
I love the Dying Light games. I just have so much fun in those worlds. And this one, you now turn into like the crazy fucking zombies that come out at night. Like your character has some of those abilities. So I want to see how they implement that. Looks super cool.
Lots of potential.
Yeah.
Daryl, any last minute thoughts?
No, I just hope we get fully fleshed out games when they do come out. I hope nothing is riddled in microtransactions. I hope, I just hope that the learning curve of what has been successful and what gamers have really gravitated towards kind of continues, and we see that like happening in development and release. But I know that is a large pipe dream in some cases for some studios and some companies. So we'll see. We'll see.
This year for sure has the potential to be a very big year in gaming if it doesn't get fucked up.
Yeah. Cautious optimism.
Yeah.
That's how we go into the year, right?
That's how we do it.
The one thing that looks really nice about this year is a lot of the big releases are single player story games.
Yes.
So what does that tell you, developers? Fucking pay attention.
You know what? I don't blame the developers at this point. I blame the
boardroom.
Yes.
Yes.
The C-suite, the corporations.
Money.
Sometimes those are one and the same depending on the company. But that's a whole other episode. Otherwise, Kyle will be up until midnight.
Looking like Charlie Day, just
right.
Red string connecting random strings.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think 2025 and our releases here are they're looking to be good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah, good enough.
Keanu, what do you think?
Good enough.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at GEG Podcast. Check out our website, goodenoughgaming.com, and write us an email about anything from our episodes or something you would like us to discuss in the future. You can also now join us on Discord on the Good Enough Gaming Discord server. We really appreciate you listening and hope you continue to join us on this epic adventure of discussing all things gaming and nerdy. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever else you listen to your podcasts, and rate us 5 stars so we can find more good enoughers in the process. Just remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.